Hi everyone, this is Spring, the fiber enthusiast. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is not crochet, nor is it knit. It's not even tatting, but it's blending and making what is called a rolag. I've had a couple of requests for me to do a video on blending. The blending that I'm going to be doing today is not blending of fibers, yet blending of colors. So, some of you that have been around for a little while and have seen where all this coloring came from know what I'm about to do. But those of you that haven't been around for a little while, here we go. I'm going to set this nano out of the way. It's a little electric spinning wheel, and it's very lightweight and portable. It's from Maurice Dreaming Robots. I will put his link down in the description box in case you are interested. He has a lot of different sizes and price ranges. This is the cheapest of them all and does the job that I need it to do. This here is called a rolag, and that's what we're going to make today. The sound of the video will go in and out because I will mute sections of the video where it's going to be extremely loud when I'm brushing the fibers. I don't want to overpower the microphone and your ears. So I'm going to set this back out of the way and let's get the blending board. So this usually hangs here in the room. And what this is a blend, well, it's a carding fabric mat. And I'm going to go ahead and pull these brushes off. We'll go over them in just a second. I have them on hooks because this hangs on my pegboard here in the room. So here you can see it's a bunch of little tiny teeth, and they all are put into this mat. This is a 12 by 12 mat. I ordered it separately, and then we took a piece of plywood and cut it to the desired size so that way I could hang my brushes, as you've seen, on the sides. Put a handle in it so that way I could hang it on my pegboard, as well as when I'm brushing the fibers on, I have something to hold on to. Okay, so let's talk about the brushes. This is a fine tooth brush. Very long metal teeth on it, and they're very soft. And then we have what's called a coarse, and the coarse has an angle to the shorter teeth. It has a angle to it, so it kind of grabs and really pulls through. Not to mention, this is nowhere near as soft as this one. They both have their purpose. This one I use to basically pack in the fiber and kind of brush them all straight. And if I've got, you know, some knots or clumps and fibers just not wanting to go all in the same direction, I will use this brush to really pull them through and straighten them out. So each one has their own purpose. That's what I use them for. I'm going to set them out of the way and move this out of the way for a second. Now we'll talk about the fiber that I'm going to use today to demonstrate how I'm blending these fibers. This is not a fiber like wool, 100% merino wool or bamboo or anything like that. This is what is sold currently as a yarn. But as you can see, this particular yarn is not spun very tightly. So it makes it easy for me to use this as a roving. And I ordered this from Lion Brand. It's called Spectacular. And let's see, they classify it a number 7 yarn. And it's a 52% polyester, 38% acrylic, and 10% wool. Now you're going to ask, why would I use this? Well, the reason I would use this is because there are a lot of people that are allergic to wool. And if you're blending different fibers, such as alpaca, you're going to want to blend it with something with barbs on it, like a wool, because alpaca has a tendency to grow over time because it doesn't have barbs on the strands to hold together. So over time, it kind of grows. And also, when you have people that are allergic to wool, you add wool to the alpaca, and now it's a 50-50 or a 75-25, and the wool content is quite significant. So it would irritate their skin. This, having such a small amount of wool, only 10%, some people can actually use this even though they're allergic to wool. So by taking this and turning it into a fun yarn, such as blending it together like I'm doing and creating my own yarn, this allows those that aren't like allergic to wool, no matter what the percentage, but only can handle certain amounts of wool. This allows them to have some fun yarn that's hand spun and made into fun colors that they normally wouldn't be able to get or receive. Somebody's hand spun yarn, most of the time, a lot of people like to use wool. And with them being allergic to wool, they can't purchase some really beautiful hand-spun yarn. So, at any rate, I will be using these colors in this segment, just like I have on my rolags. And in this yarn, we have these poofs, and then we have these like overspun sections. And what I do is I untwist that section and then apply it to my blending board. So I'm going to go ahead and cut some pieces off of these. I can work straight from the ball of yarn, but I choose not to have all of this in my lap. So I'm just going to cut a section off of each one. About the same amount, give or take. Okay, now that I got a little bit of each of them colors, I'm going to set them over to the side and bring the blending board back into camera. Okay, so I'm going to get one of the rolags that I've already done and show you the order that I will be putting these on the blending board. So to start with, I'm going to start with the lightest color. Then I'm going to go to the next lightest color, and then the dark, and then ending in the purple. So that is the direction I want to do these colors. So that way I'm matching what I already have. So let me get the very lightest color here. And as I said, I just untwist, pull it apart a little bit. There we go. Now what I do to apply it to the blending board, I start at the top and press the fiber down into these teeth on the carding cloth. And I'll hold it with my finger and give just a slight upwards tug. Just like that. And then I'll move my finger down and I just keep going down the cloth until I have reached the end of the cloth. Then I'll move up to the next little empty teeth next to it and start again. And some clumps will be a little thicker than others. So we'll just keep working like this. And at some points during this video, not only will I shut the sound off so that way it's not so loud, but I will speed it up because this is quite the process. And I don't want to take up too much of your time. Just want to go over blending these together, blending these colors together. Now, if you were to blend fibers and you wanted to, say, put down a layer of wool, then you wanted to add a layer of maybe silk, you would brush that on top. Then maybe you want to add some stellina. You want to give it some sparkle, like this has some sparkle. So you would just brush, add that in like I'm doing here, and then brush them all together. So once I have all of the fiber on that I'm going to put in this section, I'm going to take my fine tooth brush and I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way to the top. Just brushing it down into the teeth. Just like that. And then I'll start on the next color. And at this point, I'm going to fast forward past all of the colors. So I will start applying these, and we'll do this in a sped up way. Okay, so once you have the amount of fiber on here that you want and the way you want it to create a rolag, we're now going to use 2 dowel rods. And in order to use these dowel rods, you're going to want to offset them just a little bit so that way you can pull one out of the other. So you take your dowel rod and you place it under the fiber. And I like to take the tip of my left one and put it very close to the edge on my left side. And then I take the right side and the top dowel rod and put it close to the right side of my fabric. Then you pinch those two together with the fiber in between and gently roll them around your dowel rod. So now it's wrapped around both dowel rods. Now we have to get it off of the carding fabric. So you're going to pull up so the fabric is just barely coming off of your carding cloth. And then you give it a little tug to pull those fibers, and then roll, lift, pull, roll, lift, pull, roll, lift, pull. Depending on the amount of fiber you put on here, you can get 2 or 3 rolags off of one section, because you do not want a lot stuffed in here, or it does make it a little harder to spin from. And then I just get something to pop those up with that are sticking, those fibers that are sticking down in the cloth. Pop them up out of there. Put them over the top and continue. And then what I like to do is just kind of give it a little brush so everything smooths out around the outside of my dowel rods, and the fiber here is nice and smooth. And now, because I left a section on this side and a section on this side, I can easily pull one out of the other. Now, if you put this too tight around these dowel rods, you're not going to get your dowel rod out. So now we have it off our dowel rods, and we're going to create our donut just by rolling one end and rolling it around like that. Get this one back to its shape. And there we have it. There's another rolag. Okay. So I hope you have enjoyed this small demonstration of how to create a rolag and blend colors on the blending fabric, on the carding fabric blending board. I don't have a bunch of different types of fiber, or I would show you how to blend those fibers together. But this is just a basic demonstration as to how to blend these colors together. So there you have it. My short demonstration on how I blend on and create rolags on my blending board, handmade blending board. I hope you enjoyed this. It's not a tutorial, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and let me know down in the comment section. Have you used any carding cloth before? Do you have a drum carder, or do you have carding brushes? Is this the first time you've ever seen this done? Okay, everybody, have a wonderful day and be blessed and be a blessing. Bye, everybody.